So my focus has changed from my own personal successes to successes that I can share and that I can bring to other people and help with their success. And that's what gives me the fulfillment. Hey, welcome back. It's Rob with you again, and today I want to talk about the feeling of success without the fulfillment that we expect to come with it, because this can be a really frustrating thing. And one of the things that I've found is that a lot of times our success, or what appears to be success, or what we might call success in a particular endeavor or a task, is masking the real feelings that we want, right? And what I mean by that is that we succeed at this task and it doesn't bring the feelings that we want, that we thought we were going to get out of it, right? And so it kind of, it's sort of an empty victory. But we hang our hat on that success, right? And so a lot of times people will get caught up in this whole idea of chasing success, and you get there and you have the ITATI feeling, as I call it. And that's just an acronym that is that all there is, right? ITATI. And so is that all there is that feeling that you have? Like you get to that point where you were expecting when you get that success, you're going to feel this way or that, and you don't. And it feels kind of empty. And it feels like you just sort of chased this success for no real reason. And that's obviously something that can be a very frustrating thing. And I want to talk about what the solution is as far as I see it for that in a bit. But the next thing that I really want to cover is the idea that we have these kind of invisible chains that are holding us back. And so success without fulfillment is one of those things, right? It's one of those things where when you get to that point and you reach that, and then you don't feel the way you wanted to feel, and you don't feel the way you expected to when you get there, that can hold us back in the future, because we remember that. We remember that disappointment feeling. And it's like, I succeeded. Why do I feel disappointed? And so that can be a what I call an invisible chain, right? That kind of holds us down. And so the next time that we go to complete something or pursue something, we stop ourselves because we remember that, the last time I worked so hard and I got there and it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. ITATI, right? Is that all there is? So, and that phrase that, I use a lot of little mnemonics and little phrases, and I've mentioned that in some other videos as well, and I use mantras in my own head, but ITATI is one of those that is something that I try to stay away from, right? But it is something that is used as a motivator for me to make sure that when I start an endeavor, I understand the connection at the end that's going to give it the meaning that I want. And so I'll use that ITATI to kind of check myself. And it's just a real quick, ITATI. How quick is that? It takes a half a second to say. But when I think about pursuing something, especially something that's going to be a long-term deal, I always kind of just, that's what I use to check myself, is I say to myself, ITATI. And I sit there and I think, and I go, am I going to feel that way at the end of this? And how can I avoid feeling that way is really the main question that I eventually get to. And this is, again, it's not easy, and it's something that I've had to train myself to do, as with most cases here, and the things that I talk about, again, this is all long game type of stuff, right? There aren't any quick fixes on this channel. And that's something that I talked about in my very first video. This is not something where I'm trying to spin a quick fix to help you get unstuck with some sort of a trick or a tactic. This is stuff that is the real meaningful change. This is where that comes from. And you've got to stay consistent over time, because we're playing the long game here. So some of the invisible chains that I've found that hold us down, because I don't want to dwell on this for too long, this whole idea of the empty victories and the ITATI concept, but some of the other invisible chains I've found are perfectionism, right? And that's something I really struggled with personally, and I've worked with people who struggle with that as well. And the idea that, if it's not perfect, then it's not worth it. Which again, here's a concept that may be foreign to a lot of people, but perfection is something that I define completely differently than most people. Most people think of the word perfectionism or perfect. I don't know what that pronunciation was all about, but perfecting something. Something is perfect when it is flawless, okay? But flawless is a different word from perfect, okay? And perfect, if you look it up in the dictionary, has numerous definitions, all right? Flawless has one. And so if something is flawless, then some people would say that the definition of flawless is it's perfect. And that's kind of a little trap that you can get into, that circle, okay? And I don't see perfection that way. I don't see things being perfect as being flawless. And I don't equate the two. Flawless is something that is very difficult to achieve no matter who you are, no matter what you do. And all the greats, the GOATs in any industry or in sports or whatever, will tell you that flawlessness does not exist. You may have a flawless play, you may have a flawless experience, but generally speaking, flawlessness or being flawless is absolutely impossible, because we are people and we make mistakes, and it's okay that we make mistakes, and that has to be okay, because once you recognize that you've made a mistake, then you can go about correcting it. But if you're going to deny mistakes, you're going to have a really hard time improving your performance at all. So perfectionism is one of those invisible chains that will hold us back. Comparison is another one. Comparing yourself to someone else in any way, shape, or form. There's no need for it. Compare yourself to yourself. Comparing yourself to others is not going to be a fruitful endeavor in just about any case. Now, there are times, of course, where comparison is built in. Competition, right? Competition in business, competition in athletics, some form of competition. There is a natural component of comparison. That's what makes it a competition. But you let the scoreboard speak. You don't have to do the comparing. You don't have to participate in comparing yourself to someone else. You let the scoreboard speak. And how do you get to the point where you let the scoreboard speak? You let go of the result and you do everything you can to be the best you can be. That's really where you can drop comparison. And that's where you can eliminate that idea of comparing yourself to others and compare yourself to yourself instead. Is look at, how can I improve just 1% a day, right? That's another one of those commonly held and sort of cliche things, improve 1% a day. And there are people who will say, if you improve 1% a day, then you improve 365% over the course of a year, which is completely untrue. You improve way more than that. And I'm going to put a video together at some point here that has the math on that. And I will actually have a graphic on that video. I usually don't. I stay away from those things. And that's why I haven't done it yet, is because I just, putting together a graphic and throwing it up on the screen, it's not the kind of video I like to make. I like to just talk to you like we're in the room together here. And, I feel like I effectively communicate well enough that I don't need to use graphics and things to make my point. But in that case, I will show the math on that, because you'll really be blown away. It's way more than 365% improvement, and that's because of the same concept as compound interest. When you improve 1% each day, your 1% is stacking. You're not improving 1% 3 weeks from now on the old you that started 3 weeks ago. You're improving the 1% on the 2 weeks and 6 days version of yourself, which has all this improvement stacked up along the way, if that makes any sense. So, this idea of comparing anyway, and comparing yourself is where this started. Compare yourself to yourself, all right? That is one of the most freeing things that you can do in terms of getting the results that you want to get, is to compare yourself with yourself. And the other kind of trap that we get caught into, or invisible chain that I like to call it, is putting all of our self-worth into our results, right? And this is a common trap as well. And this is another thing, something that was very difficult for me to overcome. And I worked on this, I battled it for years. And this idea of letting go of the result. And again, it goes back to this comparison thing, but your self-worth has to come from yourself. And I know that sounds sort of silly to say, frankly. And I wish I had another way to put it. I wish I had other verbiage for it. But the truth is, like, that, like, that's why it's called self-worth. It's got to come from you. It's got to come from within. It can't come from something external, or that's not self-worth. You're not defining your worth based on what you decide. You're defining your worth on some external circumstance. And all those external circumstances, they're outside of your circle of control, right? They're outside of the things that you can control. You can't control results. You can control inputs. You can control the way you react. You can control your actions, but you can't control results, okay? And so tying your self-worth to results is futile, and it leads you down a path of frustration. And maybe you've experienced that. And I experienced it for decades before I finally stumbled upon this idea of my self-worth has to come from inside. It has to come from me, right? And one of the biggest turning points in my life was when I really learned to truly love myself. And that is a very difficult thing for a lot of us to do. And I spoke about it in another video about this idea of doing mirror work, which is something that was a fascinating eye-opener and breakthrough for me. And so, check out mirror work if you haven't already. It's difficult at first, I'm not going to lie, but it is something that is incredibly beneficial toward getting to know yourself and ultimately coming to terms with who you are and loving yourself for who you are. And that opens up the door to everything. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about that really ties all this together is, success and fulfillment and victory and these things. They don't really mean anything without other people to share it with, right? Private successes and successes that we reach on our own, and we don't have anywhere to share. We don't have anybody to bring in and share our excitement over what we've accomplished. That really makes it feel empty. And so I found over the years that community really is the ultimate meaning of everything. And that's, again, why I created this channel and why I make these videos, is I believe that the more you give, the more you get. And you have to have someone to give to, right? And that's the community. In order to give, there has to be a receiver, right? There can be multiple receivers, but you have to have a receiver, or else what are you doing? You're not really giving. And so that whole thing kind of comes back full circle, in the sense that when you have successes, sharing them with other people can inspire them to succeed as well. And then they share their successes with you. And you create this upward spiral, right? And the meaning that comes out of that, out of helping someone else succeed after you've succeeded, and sharing your success and sharing how you got there so that others can follow in your footsteps, man, that's where really the fire comes from, that allows us to win in the long term and win overall, winning together. And that's one of the main reasons that I put together the community that I put together of like-minded people like you and like me. We chase success because chasing success together is helpful for everyone. And we can collaborate and we can all win together. It doesn't have to be lonely at the top. So my focus has changed from my own personal successes to successes that I can share and that I can bring to other people and help with their success. And that's what gives me the fulfillment. And I don't have to worry about ITATI anymore when I come down to that bottom line of community and togetherness and ultimately meaning. So my community, we all get together over at the website, and that is at www.yoursoulsource.com. You can head over there. You can get the Performance Accelerator, where we learn together how to level up and how to move your life forward and gain the momentum that you need in order to do that. And again, it comes from community, it comes from working together and sharing ideas and collaborating. So I hope you come over and join us there to collaborate with us and to contribute and to take from the community what you can take. But ultimately, it takes people giving, not just me, but everybody, giving and receiving, both, right? And we keep that cycle going. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope that you are able to pursue success and achieve fulfillment as well, instead of having the empty victories that so many of us have experienced and that I experienced for so long. And I really, really encourage you to get into some community, even if it's not my own, where you can work with people and collaborate and everybody wins together. And so that's it for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. I want to remind you again that excellence is a decision. It's up to you to decide to be excellent, and I hope you do. And I hope I see you again soon here on the channel. Have a great day. So long.
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.